Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Bacon Hour podcast. I'm your host with the most voices, Steven, and today I'll be joined by my very, very welcoming guest here. You mind giving us a little bit of an introduction, my man?
Hello, Mr. Steven, or should I say Mr. Cheeseburger Backpack Man, as I know you from
I go
way
by many
back in the
nicknames,
past.
yeah.
My name is Anthony Medina. I'm a local resident of Kerman, and yeah.
That's all
That's
right.
me.
That's very thing. Thank you for coming on here today. Tell me, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about a very interesting and strange anime. We're talking about Fooly Cooly.
Emphasis on strange.
Mm-hmm.
Fooly Cooly. Why Fooly Cooly? What does Fooly Cooly mean to you, Anthony?
Fooly Cooly means to me is just a weird trip of an anime. It was actually one of my first animes I ever watched.
Really?
Indeed, yeah.
Wow.
Even before Dragon Ball.
Yeah, we're talking about anime today, specifically one. So if you are getting ready to listen to us talk about one specific anime in general, then get ready. I think what Fooly Cooly means to me, it's kind of what you feel in your bones, you know? Are you doing Fooly Cooly right now? It's a meme type thing. It's a dreamy type thing. You know, you see, you do with your hands like this, like that, right? You know, people ask me like, who cares about Fooly Cooly? You know, who cares if it's Fooly or it's Cooly? You know, it's kind of a cooly kind of modality. You know, the Cooly of the Fooly of the Cooly. You know, You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm sorry if I said that like way too many times, but yeah, no, seriously, we're talking about this weird, strange, wonderfully chaotic anime called Fooly Cooly, or FLCL that it's abbreviated. And you might be asking yourself, what is this about? What is this anime about? Well, at least from what I ripped straight from the wiki, like the official Fooly Cooly wiki, the synopsis at least reads that it's about a boy's humdrum life that gets turned upside down when he encounters a maniacal girl who causes strange things to grow out of his forehead and draws him into conflict with a mysteriously otherworld organization. And I'm like, bullshit, dude. That's not what it's. I mean, kind of, but on the surface.
I would say it's more of a girl hitting a poor young boy in the face with a Vespa, if I remember correctly.
Or a 4001 blue Rickenbacker. Or something along. Left-handed Rickenbacker, by the way. It's a really cool bass. But like, it goes a little bit more than that, and you kind of might also be asking like, why are we talking about it? Well, because it's cool, and you know, if you're into anime, get ready to take a page out of my book from it, because I think it's pretty interesting to talk about, especially to like underneath the surface, because it's kind of like an iceberg, you know. You might see the tip of it at the very tippy top, but underneath there's like this giant glacier of like just everything that there is to talk about, and if I may just add just a little bit, we're only going to be talking about just the first series, because there's 3 seasons, OVAs. It's kind of, yeah, like quotations. Yeah, air quotations, OVAs. There's this one, and then the sequels are named Progressive and Alternative, but we'll get to that later on in the episode.
We'll get to that one.
Just a smidge, because I've only watched it like once, and I can't look at it the same way I do this first one. But what's very interesting is that this anime is only like 6 episodes long. So
it's only 6 episodes long.
It's only 6 episodes long. It came out in like early 2000s, I think.
Early 2000s, yeah.
Somewhere around that, like.
It should say in the box. Oh, by the way, I actually have a disc copy with us on set.
There's no cameras in this podcast, but if there was, I'd show you the DVD. It says here it like came out in like 1999 or something. I don't know. Maybe we got the dub in like 2000 or something.
Perhaps
2000 something. But yeah, and it's a very short watch. It's a great watch. Wouldn't you agree, Anthony?
I mean, I binge watched it last night, honestly, in preparation for this episode, and honestly, it brought back a swath of memories. Some good, some some. What the hell am I watching?
Yeah, it's kind of
it's all over the place.
Yeah, it gets all over the place. You know, sometimes you have episodes that are like, you know, you get introduced by the characters. Some other times it's like breaking the fourth wall. Mm-hmm. There's this whole like scene in the first episode, I think, that has like this like manga panel. Like
Oh yeah,
motion
the manga
comic type
packs.
like beat going on in there.
They literally introduced as a gag basically
Mm-hmm.
for the first episode, I believe, a whole skit of manga panel where like the animation transformed from 3D to 2D to like 1D to like manga panel comic strip.
Yeah.
And they literally said after like what, maybe a minute, they said, "Oh, we can't do this anymore because the animators are." Or animator budget cuts in. That's too expensive. It was funny.
It's ironic that it's more expensive to do a motion comic on a
Oh, yeah.
2D panel of like manga strips than it is like full on animation. Oh yeah. Also, speaking of the animation, dude, it gets
Oh.
it gets kind of like a little not expensive. It just gets a little good, like a little too good for its own good.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time. There's shots where like they're doing like I remember there was a shot in like the first episode where it's like the camera just kind of goes all the way around like Mamimi's head, and it just kind of like it's like it just revolves around here, and it's like it's just I think like dude, every frame of that fucking shot is it looks 3D, but it's not. It's
not.
completely.
It's not CGI. It's all animated by hand.
It's all almost in a way hand drawn, yeah.
Basically.
And then there's a cool fight scene I remember in like the 5th episode, I think, where like Haruko's fighting that like giant hand robot thing with like the guns.
God, I remember the hand robot.
That one was pretty cool. And there's just a bunch of other cool shots. Sometimes some of the shots aren't even like well animated or like crazy. You know, some of them are just a panning shot of like the setting of where Fooly Cooley's based. You know, around, and you know you get like a outside shot. You get like a I don't fucking know. Like sometimes there's beauty and simplicity. Sometimes there's beauty in like the maniacal animation that's in it.
It's so strange because throughout the whole season, basically the whole town of the plot of the anime it's set up in has this giant medical facility called Medical Mechanical.
Oh yeah, Medical Mechanica.
Okay, whatever he said, you get it. It looks like a giant iron, basically.
Oh yeah, it's a giant iron.
It's a giant iron, and the whole city. The first, I want to say, like 5-10 minutes of the anime,
where he's monologuing.
Yeah. Where what's the main character's name again? I forget.
Naota.
Naota.
Otherwise known as Takun. But
Takun. That's what I remember him as. Takun, literally is narrating like how this town has a veil of fog.
Yeah, he's monologuing. He's monologuing, saying that there's nothing that interesting happens around his town, and the whole Medical Mechanica plant when it came to town was like, oh, the adults got excited about it, but he doesn't understand the excitement because it's like I don't care about new jobs. I just think that
he's a kid.
He's a kid.
Why does he have to bother about jobs?
Oh, and that's another thing I want to get about. That's another thing I want to get about that. He's just a kid, but I'll get to that right now. And he's monologuing, saying that nothing happens. Medical Mechanica plant came to town, and it's like I just think that this town is like boring and shit. Right? My life is boring.
In a way, you could technically quote our town and the big company Wally World when it came to town.
Oh,
everyone was a little bit excited about that.
I guess.
You know, some people were angry, some people were.
But he was going on about like the plot point of him, like just Naota's story, I guess, being told here. The whole anime just feels a little timeless, despite it being probably set in like 1990. I don't know, because you can tell what time period it sets in, because like cell phones, you tell they're like fucking.
They were flip phones.
They're almost like flip phones. They're like Nokia's almost. I remember seeing a few flip phones in the thing.
I saw very few flip phones in there.
And then it feels timeless, and it's like the show kind of gives you the opportunity of rewatchability, because it has a reasonably short episode span, and it just feels so timeless after so long.
It feels longer than it actually is.
It does. It really does.
It's a weird sensation where you're like...
It feels like you've gone through like 20 episodes, but in reality, you've only gone through 6. Yeah. But it tells one hell of a story.
It's...
And the story, once you get below the surface is like, what is at first glance a wacky series with crazy, crazy robot fight scenes and a weird woman on a Vespa is really...
And a magical flying bass guitar.
And a magic... Well, I wouldn't say flying bass guitar. I think that bass guitar has portal-like abilities, but...
That thing's so weird.
Yeah, what's at first glance this crazy story is really about, like, a coming-of-age story about a kid who finally realizes what it actually, truly means to be mature. At least
Did it ever state what grade he was in?
it's stated that he's probably in like middle school or something.
I think so. Yeah.
He's like he's probably maybe in like first year middle school or something, because I know like by the end of the series he kind of gets like the junior high kind of at least junior
Winter
high
outfit or like
no, it's not a
summer
mentor outfit. It's just like a uniform that they all wear, and it's like junior high students kind of wear like that black jacket, but it's weird. And yeah, at least that's what everybody's like. What every retrospective video that I've watched on this anime, like every review is like that. It's below the surface, it's coming of age story about our protagonist Naota. Speaking of protagonists and characters, why don't we give a little bit of information about our at least three main protagonists? And I only mean three because like really like the other characters are kind of just here to either drive the plot just a little bit, or like maybe they are the reason for driving the episode, or they're kind of just there to fuck around with it, the plot. And so firstly we have Naota, otherwise known as Takun, and he's just a sullen, snarky 12-year-old kid who's obsessed with appearing mature, and he attempts to act so nonchalant about it. In a way, he's kind of very like I wouldn't say nihilistic towards the world. No, that's somebody else. He's very help me out here, man. He's kind of
vindictive?
He's vindictive a little bit.
He's
yeah.
also vindictive of his older brother who left.
Oh yeah,
the city. That's a whole other plot point.
Well, it's not a whole other plot. It's just kind of just there, and we're
like
just kind of just told about it. We're just like, hey, his older brother went to go, what was it, play baseball in
America, I think?
in America, and then he's like trying to like just growing, like.
He's trying to replace the loss of his big brother by saying, I can be older.
I can be like him.
He's not.
But he's not. He needs to learn that. And then after that, we have Mamimi Samajima. I don't know. Jime? I don't fucking know how to pronounce the last name. It's a tongue twister. And she's a very, very lonely and depressed chain smoker. And also a little bit of a pyromaniac.
Cultic worshiper in that one episode where she tried. Like,
she's more like she's full of naivety, like naiveness. I don't know how to pronounce that one word.
Naivety.
Naivety.
Yeah.
And she's trying to she's really trying to replace her relationship and her feelings that she had with her ex-boyfriend, which is Naota's older brother. And she kind of lives like a very like cope-filled life, She's really depressed about everything. She doesn't do anything to like change. She just kind of like does things that are like, dude, you need to take a step back. I'm not going to get into what those things are, but she does things.
Yeah.
And then we have our main woman herself, Miss Haruko Haruhara. I don't fucking know where to begin with her. Well,
is she human? Is she an alien? We don't know.
Is she human? Is she an alien? Or is she just someone who just fucks with people? And that's what I kind of think she is. She's just somebody who fucks with somebody. She has a high tendency to just switch between a variety of different dispositions that like
personalities and emotions
and others on a dime. And so like that's making her very, very difficult to read, and she becomes so unpredictable because of it. She can be very persuasive and standoffish sometimes to get what she wants, So that's like, man. And it's like, and she also finds herself in like a lot of promiscuous, like suggestive situations and stuff, And it's like she's everywhere,
And her deal, her issues. The reason why she even encountered Naota or Takun is because she's looking for the right size head.
Something about that.
Something about a head and how she measures other people's heads at night, and like, I don't know, it's something weird about heads, honestly.
Something weird about heads. The NO channel, this weird concept of like, oh, there's portals you can hit somebody with the side of the head with like a certain type of base, and then they somehow are able to.
Had an engine in it, for God's sake. She rubbed it like a chancel.
Yeah. It's weird. There's a lot of concepts in that series that like I want to explain more, but it's like it's kind of like a Rorschach ink blot. You just kind of have to figure out like what it does and how you perceive the way it works. I've perceived my own way of how it works. a weird bass goes burr on someone's head and it opens up a portal and then robots come out of it. And where do those robots come from? I've kind of deduced that they came from the medical mechanical plant somehow, right?
Interdimensional space portal between
yeah,
using a poor child's head.
Yeah, and then there's medical mechanica, which is a whole weird thing on its own. It's trying to smooth the world or something like that, and it's like weird. Oh, and I can't forget about my base, which is my base. I don't know how they would pronounce it, but my base is the fictional Japanese city that Fooly Cooly takes place in, and it's such a weird little wacky town. At least, like, you know, in the sense that it's like it's really silent. It's really quiet. Sometimes the streets are populated. Sometimes they're not. You know, it's kind of like how you suggested. You gave a good example. What was that example?
The example was, what was it? Ed and Eddie's Pocket Dimension cul-de-sac.
Well, I would say, like, not pocket dimension. It's just like a very lonely area.
But that's the thing. Have you ever gone outside the cul-de-sac?
They haven't. Any of the other I think they did.
Than the movie?
I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of like... And I think they even...
It's ambiguous.
It's ambiguous. They did go outside in, like, the very last episode. Remember when they, like Haruko just kind of took Naoto with them? Remember that?
True.
Yeah, and then...
Actually, did she take him with?
Huh?
Did she take him with him?
Yeah.
In the last episode, he was, like, left...
No, she left, and then she came back, and then he's like, why'd you leave? And then she's like, I don't know. I'm just fucking with you. And then she's like, take me with you. Or, like, he's like, take me with you, and then they go... And it's like you kind of get to see a little bit of like outside of the thing, but it's probably just like a highway or something. But it's a very mysterious fictional city, and it's like it's always surrounded with these like orangish like afternoon skies, and it's like sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's you get to see more of like the dusk thing, more like the orangish skies and
There's
stuff.
always a layer of fog surrounding the border of the town.
It's like steam from the
fog,
medical mechanica. Yeah. It's so empty.
And even the main character, Nalta, even picks up on it. It's like, that thing's always spilling out steam or smoke. And it's almost like there's... You can't even go outside of the town anymore.
No, yeah.
That's like a weird little tidbit that he said.
It's almost like the fog, the steam that surrounds the whole city is keeping these people in. And there's like, they just kind of like nowhere else to go. Yeah, that's my base. My base. I don't know how to still pronounce that, but yeah. There was and I'm just gonna kind of tangent here a little bit, but there's like a theory saying that the whole city of my base is not actually on Earth. It's actually just a city that's up in Mars, hence the orangish sky and all the thing. And it's like I'm like that could be a very plausible theory, but I wouldn't.
Theory I've heard.
I wouldn't know because the sequels just. Like you kind of got some answer, but you got more questions than you get answers.
There are more questions than answers.
Again, we'll get to the sequels later on in this episode and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of everybody that we've covered here. With the characters, the setting, the what we think about it and stuff. It's kind of if I were any of you guys, I would go watch it because it's like just very, very good. And if you ever do, come tell me. What you think about it, because it's weird, and I would love to like explain and discuss, but whatever. We'll be right back after this short break and whatnot, so hope you're sticking around.
Nothing amazing happens here. Nothing amazing.
Naoto was an ordinary boy living in an ordinary town with an ordinary life.
What are you doing?
Homework.
Until an encounter with a mysterious stranger and her bass guitar changed everything.
Guess I better hit him again.
Now, the portal in his head and the robots coming out of it are the least of his problems. And besides battling a space patrol officer, the Department of Interstellar Immigration, and medical mechanica, he's still got to work through the biggest challenge of all.
I should teach you how to be a man, Taku.
Tsunami is proud to present one of the greatest anime series of all time. Finally, where it belongs, Fooly Cooly. Next Saturday night at 2:30. Think smooth. Only Tsunami on Adult Swim.
Hello there, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that short little break in between. As I said earlier in the thing, we were going to talk about each episode and whatnot, and also get to the sequels of this anime. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the episodes, what we liked about it, what was stuff that kind of stuck out to us and stuff. We'll begin with episode 1. Anthony, I'll let you take the reins from here. What you like about episode 1? What you not like about episode? I don't know, just your thoughts.
Episode 1, honestly, it's like, to me, it's like, obviously it's gonna be the opener. It's gonna be the intro of what the heck did I just watch?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it, you're just like confused, and you're just like, okay, I have no idea what this anime is about so far, other than a few key points.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hooked. I'm gonna go more into it, and then you go on to the second episode. But yeah, first episode. Other than the fact that it is quite literally
Yeah.
it's just weird. It's
just weird.
Very weird. Like, I can't express
explain
that
it.
enough. It is a very weird anime.
Well, I
for the
think
first episode.
Well, I think I'm going to tell you what I like about the first episode, and that's being that it's got a real strong introduction, especially to our driving protagonist here, Miss Haruhara, and that was something that just caught me by hand, because I was just like caught me by surprise. I was just like, what the hell is going on, and why does this lady have riding a Vespa and hit this kid with a fucking Rickenbacker?
Comes out completely out of left field.
It was completely out of left.
Or
It was
just
completely out of
walking
left.
down the street.
But I knew right from then and there. I knew this was probably going to be my favorite character, and I was like, I have to also.
She is a character.
I also have to kind of name drop at least her dubbed voice, Kari Walgren, because she does such an incredible job voicing Haruka, and like that. Her performance just always stuck with me, and I was just like, man. What a lady to bring the voice to her and all that, and it's like to this character anyways. It's just like, man, very talented voice actress that she can switch. She can embody this character very, very well. Also the very first fight scene on the bridge, when the fucking robot comes out of his head. You remember that?
I remember it being, was it a robot dog or something like that?
No, that was
Or
episode.
a bull? I think it was a bull.
That was I don't even remember, dude. I just remember it was I think it was a
Giant
blue,
robot.
It was on the bridge. Remember, it was the bridge fight scene. It was
the
towards the
bridge
very end.
Mm-hmm.
It's Naoto's kind of stuck behind Kanti, where he's trying to fight the.
Isn't he attached to Kanti?
Yeah, he's dangling off the behind Kanti and their thing. But that fight scene was just something that because midway through the episode I was just getting kind of bored. I'm like, oh, what happened to the cool stuff? And the cool stuff's back, and all that. And that's kind of what I liked about episode 1. Moving on to episode 2, and I'll kind of start it off here. For me, anyways. Episode 2 was Firestarter, the one where Mamimi was doing the whole prayer thing with the fire ring,
Candles on her
candles,
head.
all that. That episode for me was a little more tame for me personally, because that one I don't remember so much, other than just the whole fire.
And Kanti just weirdly T-posing, flying around
Yeah,
town.
he's just doing the little prayer pose. And
Didn't Haruka send him on an errand?
I think so, and then all that.
Can you imagine? Could you just imagine looking outside your window, a weird flying robot, two-headed man just flying by,
just kind of floating down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was for me. Is I felt it was a little more tame than the rest of them. What about you, man?
Yeah, same. Not really much. Just a little bit tamer.
Yeah.
Until the action scenes.
I agree. Episode 3, moving on here. I really like the moments between Naota and Nina Mori, which is his classmate, and how they were doing the play of Puss in Boots or whatever. I think two scenes that I really liked. One that I just kind of just grinned at, laughed at a little bit, was when they bonked foreheads really, really hard. And then the other one that was that I thought was that's some pretty good acting, was when they're arguing right before like Nina Mori like reveals that like Naota has like the cat ears or something, and they're kind of like they're like going back and forth about like like I don't want to do the stupid play, and like you get on my like effing back about it and all this, and it's like something about like that, and then there's also like the whole like subplot like Nina Mori is like kind of being treated as like she's like so mature for her age, but kind of deep.
Isn't Nina Mori like some famous person's daughter, an actress, something like that? And
in the show,
yeah, because I remember one scene.
I think that
I think she was class president.
She was class president.
She was class president.
Yeah. Nina Mori's parents. I don't remember what her mom does, but I think her dad was like a really important businessman or something. He's like whatever. Yeah, about like Nina Mori and like how everybody sees her as like being so grown up and mature, and like deep down I don't think she really sees that, because she's still just a kid.
Deep down she wants to have fun and goof off.
Yeah, she just wants to have fun and goof off
and be one of the guys.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do this stuff, But yeah, those were a few moments of like that episode that I liked, and especially like the whole subplot of like quote unquote mature Nina Mori.
Also, the fact in that episode, the episode starts off basically with our main character Naotora, or Takun, having a hat, and it looks like he has freaking cat ears on the head, and the whole during like the first like half of the episode, you're just like, what is that? Are those actually cat ears on his head?
Yeah, I know. And
even Nina Moore's like, what's under the hat, bro? I'm trying to get under a hat. And he's just like, bug off, woman.
I know, and it's such a weird thing, and then it's like, what the fuck. Moving on to like episode 4. That one was when everything was like ramping up again. There was the whole baseball theme of the episode.
Baseball theme.
There were
what was it, cell phone tower or electric cable tower?
It was like a satellite or something, and it was like it's like pitching a ball or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a whole. That entire episode was like, oh man, are we getting like a goof off episode? And it's like, no, kinda, really, I don't know, because it still kind of pertains to the whole story and stuff. And the whole message behind that episode was like, nothing happens till you swing the bat. And I'm like, I kind of
That's a metaphor.
That's a big metaphor about like, make the choice while you still have the chance.
You gotta take life by the reins and literally just go with it.
Yeah, I saw it more as of like, when you have the opportunity, like still make the choice when you have the chance or whatever, right? And then it was like the whole end or like the end of the episode when they like pitch they's like, here, like, Naota, take my guitar, and you, once that ball comes down, you gotta swing it back into the atmosphere, right? And he's like,
by way for context, the ball is literally a robot.
Oh yeah, the ball is like it's not really a robot. It's like it's a sat. I remember it's being.
I think it was a satellite.
It was a satellite, yeah, and it's like, oh man, it's coming in. If it fucking hits,
huge thing.
Yeah, it's like if it hits my base, they're all dead, and then they swing it, like quite literally swing it back into the stratosphere, like fucking baseball and stuff. But that was really good and whatnot. What about you, man? What did you like about that episode? Or do you agree with everything I just said?
I basically half agree, half disagree. Is well, the part that I disagree about is it was about the baseball emphasis and premise, I guess. Honestly, I just like that the freaking middle schoolers over here swinging a baseball bat, bass guitar thing.
It was a guitar, yeah.
And then just like, oh yeah, here, kid, take my bass guitar and swing this huge burning satellite monster signal. It's just crazy.
It was crazy. Moving forward to like episode 5, that one was secretly like that one I'll put like right below the like final episode, but episode 5 was kind of like it was just like it was a little wacky, I mean, of course the whole series is wacky, but it was wacky because there was that whole South Park reference where they animate the way like South Park used to do like the animation stuff. It's not like Flash or anything. It's like these little cutouts and stuff. Because like the guy with like the seaweed eyebrows or I don't know what the fuck that was, but he has eyebrows and stuff, right? And he's like
bushy brows.
Yeah, bushy brows, and he's like those are straight up like a South Park reference. And I was like, and I had to do like a double take. I was like, what are they doing? do they know this is legal, like, or something? But I was really young.
That was a really good parody.
Yeah, so I was just kind of like, what the fuck? And then when it came to the whole like giant hand robot thing with like the multiple guns, that whole fight scene with like accompanied by the song, I think was
By the Pillows.
Yeah, the Pillows. The song was
Great band, by the way.
Great band, yeah.
Amazing.
I forgot to mention about the soundtrack, but whatever. The song being accompanied like to that whole fight scene was, I think, Runner's High. It was Runner's High, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. And like, dude, that was just it was so amazing. And it's just like they didn't need to put it in there, but they did. Yeah. That whole robot design was like pretty cool.
And the emphasis of each episode starts off with a different thing on Takun's head.
Oh yeah.
Everything it could be
It goes
literally
from horns
a weird
to
horn
to like
that's also a reference to puberty and all that.
something about it's
Puberty
more,
or adolescence?
it's more like
I don't know. There was
we'll generalize
theme
it
there.
as maturity.
Maturity.
Yeah. But yeah, everything's something's always different with his head. Whether he has horns sticking out of his
Or
head,
a gun, just like a freaking
oh yeah, like
a Smith and Wesson revolver gun hammer in the back of his
yeah,
head.
and it just like click and then like hammer and stuff. That was weird. And then the
That's
cat
what
ears that
starts
we
off the fight.
yeah, and then cat ears we spoke of. I know episode 5 was the one with like the hammersmiths, the hammer, the fucking
gun,
the revolver handle shit. Yeah.
We don't know guns. Obviously, we don't know guns.
Yeah, dude. Man.
Can you tell?
Yeah. Anyways, well, yeah. What did you like about episode 5, dude?
Episode 5 is
I almost forgot to mention the little like airsoft fight they had at the beginning.
all the airsoft fight
Yeah.
with the BB. I think it was more BBs now.
No, it was airsoft.
Oh,
It was
I always
airsoft.
thought it was metal BBs shooting everywhere.
Same difference.
Airsoft metal BBs, but same thing, I guess. But yeah, that whole fight scene, and it literally turns into like a war zone where they have. This is a This episode was like so wacky and weird because of that fight scene itself.
Yeah.
Of-
Yeah, it was.
Like you see Takun
Doing what?
fighting other kids as well as the government
Oh yeah. I
or the
forgot.
agents.
Yeah. It's like FBI or some shit.
It wasn't FBI, it was like Central Intelligence, Japanese Intelligence, or something
So
like
like
that.
CIA.
Basically CIA.
But yeah, that was kind of weird.
And that blonde African American girl that got tore up in the fight.
Oh yeah, she was like the assistant to like
The assistant
the
to
eyebrows
Bushy
guy.
Brown Man.
Yeah. And then what's interesting about like these last 2 episodes is that they like segue into each other because like the whole that giant hand robot becomes like a thing later for the plot point of the 6th and final episode, which I'll get to. So it turns out that like giant robot thing was actually like a hand, and it was like just standing all weird and whatever. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's a giant
You'll see
hand.
it when you see
underneath. Yeah, if ever you go see it and you get to the 5th episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. So there's this giant hand, and then it kind of just stays there for like an episode, like segueing into the 6th one.
Oh, don't forget that the monster, the robot, is wearing a giant ass trench coat, and
Oh yeah, it's got like
face is a gun.
Yeah, it's got like a. Oh man, it's weird. He's got like
Strange.
he looks cool. But yeah, the 6th and final episode is properly titled Fully Climax or FL Climax, and it's just the entire like from the first minute to like the very last minute is just something of nothing short of a masterpiece. At least in how they do finale. Because there's just the whole thing between, like, Naota and Haruko, and then there's, like, the whole fight scene between them, and Naota getting the powers of the Pirate King Atomisk or something like that, right? And then there's, like...
I didn't know One Piece was in this show.
I don't know why they used that name, but whatever. And then there was like, the ending, too, where, like, she just kind of flies off on her Vespa and stuff. That was, like... because she's like, "You want to come with?" He's like, "No, I'll just stay here." And then it's like, it's a very short and like bittersweet goodbye for the 2 of them because now we know that he's finally done it. He's finally reached like what it truly means to be mature. And then Haruko's off doing her own thing, and
She's very immature. She has no responsibilities. Like,
yeah,
no
and
cares
then
no more.
Mamimi just kind of she kind of like
She gets
live.
over her.
Yeah, she gets over. She learns to like forgive and forget and just do something with her life and whatnot. And then it's just like I like where we kind of like the very last scene is like it's kind of almost a little reminiscent of like the beginning of the first episode where he's like drinking the drinks.
The sour pit drink.
The sour pit drink, and then he's like,
I don't like this drink.
I don't like this drink. But what does he do? He still gets it, and he just kind of he drinks it, and it's like that's the like, and it finally just kind of he kind of comes around. He just kind of learns to accept the flavor as he does, accepts maturity as being a regular, normal thing in life, and that we all go through it and stuff. That was a great metaphor. At least I think so. And yeah, that's just the entire like. What I like about the last episode.
Oh, don't forget to tell the listeners the fact that Takun literally becomes when he was becoming the Pirate King Atmos, he glows bright red, and out of I forget, was it what's the robot's name again? Kanti's head, where he pulls out a guitar out of that dude's head.
Yeah.
And merges it with Haru's
bass,
and it becomes
actually he takes out like two. No, does he take out two guitars? I don't know. I think he already has one in hand, and he just kind of
one that was
he merges the two. There's no words that can explain it. You just gotta go watch that. Even if you don't want to watch the whole series, man, just watch the fight scene at the end.
Final fight scene.
But yeah, I loved that whole episode. So, now. And I said this a whole lot, but let's finally get to the sequels of the day. And yes, after I think a whole almost 2 decades or something, or like 2 decades and a half, roughly, they finally made 2 sequels to Fooly Cooly. Those being titled Fooly Cooly Progressive and Fooly Cooly Alternative. I think they're trying to make like a thing about like music. Because there's alternative, progressive, and then whatever.
What's the next thing gonna be? R&B?
I don't know. I don't even think they're gonna make any more after that. I think that was just it. But yeah, the sequels. I think they're good, and you can fight me on that. All right. What about you, Anthony? What do you think of them?
I mean, truth be told, not gonna lie here, I've only seen like 1 or 2 episodes of progressive, and it didn't really catch my interest as much as the original Fooly Cooly did. Yeah,
a lot of people there's a very few that like both of them, and I'm one of those few people. And then there's a lot of other people who I've read that they're really indifferent. They told me like they're really indifferent about the sequels because it just doesn't again match the charm of the original, because the original was like something about its aesthetic or story or
the way it's portrayed, its story, the aesthetic,
there was something about the original that just had a charm to it. And then with the second one, or the second and third ones, there was just like there was something missing, whether it was the aesthetic or the story. It
could have been possibly the characters. Like, sure, you can bring Haru back, but
but you think like who the F is Julia? Like, who's that? We don't know who that is. But that's kind of the thing about Fooly Cooly. You're kind of just thrown with these characters. You kind of just figure the story out for yourself.
There's hidden lore unless you go searching for it.
Oh yeah, there is hidden lore in this
series.
This series, like there's the whole Medical Mechanica, there's the Pirate King Adamusk, and then there's like just Haruko herself. Like there's just so much lore behind it. There's so much like theories people have made, and it's like all this lore this whole lore reads like a Rorschach inkblot. You just kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and just perceive it the way you do. Because I don't understand how a fucking 1950s something super sport Vespa can travel like 100 and can go from like 0 to 80 or like 0 to 100 in like 2 seconds.
I don't 2 seconds.
I don't get that.
2 seconds.
Also, I don't get
it's gone.
Yeah. Also, I don't get the bass, like the bass guitar. Like it obviously functions as a bass, but
it's also a weapon.
Yeah, but like, why is there why do you rev it up? Why does it open portals in people's heads?
She literally smacks Takun several times in the head with this damn thing.
Yeah.
At one point, she swung it like a golf club. She held his head down, like, "All right, let's smack this robot out you." Doink.
Yeah. But I liked progressive. Alternative for me was like a trip, because I was like, one, we got like so much lore out of it. Like we got so much lore that there was like a producer, somebody who worked on the show who said, "Hey guys, you remember like my base? Yeah, it turns out it's not on Earth." And it's like, well,
What?
I'm like,
It's not on Earth?
Yeah, I'm like,
What?
where the fuck is it? And somebody also from the show, I remember, tweeted saying that, okay, check it out. The real like fucking like timeline of these things is it first goes alternative, original, and then progressive. And I'm like, what the like? So you're saying that like the fucking what you can't like
They're pulling a Hobbit out of the Lord of the Rings situation.
probably, I don't know. I still
Where the
think
Hobbit came first.
I
but
still
then they
think
put the Lord of the Rings in
I
one of
still
those.
think that that way that person, like the whoever that was, producer, that's the way they would have like told the story. Because like I remember in alternative, we never saw Haruko with her Vespa like not until like the very last 2 episodes. So she like stole it or something, or she did something with it. She didn't have it yet, and then she like I don't know. It's just thing. But then again, each of the OVAs tell their own story, so it in a way doesn't seem connected. But I like to think that they kind of are in a way, because and I remember, I think it was in the ending to like the outro of Alternative or something, where if you look in the credits, you can see like silhouettes and all this stuff. And actually, no, it's not Alternative. It was Progressive. Progressive had like this little outro, and it was like this kind of like how they did the outros for like the first one, where it's like just the Vespa and it's kind of like a stop
The
motion.
Vespa is literally standing up by itself and it has this weird journey.
Yeah, no, it's
during
just,
some of
the
scenes.
fun little aspect of like the outro video is that it's like stop motion, and it's somebody's Vespa, and it's just kind of driving. It's like quote unquote driving
Exploring.
through Japan, and I like that because it's like it's such an early like
Not to mention the
90s
soundtrack
aesthetic
that goes with it.
yeah
At
right
that, it's
right
just
on
so
Shooting Star.
Beautiful.
But there was a thing that there was like an outro video that was on Progressive, and it kind of showed that Naota's like, you kind of get to see like a silhouette of like a near teenage grown Naota, and he's just still waiting there, same pose that they left him in like the end of the original, and he's just still kind of waiting there, thinking like, oh, Haruko's gonna come back, right? I'm like, no, she's not.
Done with it.
She's done with you. She got what she wanted.
Yeah, she basically
and
used you like a
And she
paper
didn't-
towel.
and she still never got the Pirate King, which somehow there's a
If we
lore.
take away anything from this, that's her whole point, is try to find her ex-lover,
Yeah,
the
so
Pirate King,
yeah, so she has her own troubles.
this godlike being.
Yeah, whatever that guy is.
Like,
You know?
I remember in one scene it was like a phoenix
It was a phoenix. Yeah, it was a giant phoenix.
phoenix
Yeah, in one.
that picked up the metal mechanical iron and just flew away with it.
Yeah, and then in progressive. There was it was like the shape of a guy. It wasn't like a phoenix or anything. It was fucking weird, and it was just I don't know how to explain it more
I'm
myself.
about to watch these
Yeah.
other seasons.
You might as well.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I like them. You've only watched like 2 episodes of Progressive, right? So you don't really have a full thought on each of them. Yeah,
I
So,
can't give too much opinion because I've only seen 2 episodes, as he says.
understandable. Well then, I think we have just about talked about Fooly Cooly
That's enough.
as
about
much
this
as
anime.
in depth as the episode length will take us. But before we leave,
And this is just how we're interpreting it.
Yeah, this is
2
how we're
separate
interpreting-
opinions. You
yeah,
could have a
there's-
completely different.
Yeah, there's a lot of other
view on
people. Yeah, there's a lot of other people who have a different interpretation of it.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot of other people who say this and that. This is just our interpretation of it.
Please, whatever you do yourself a favor. If you love anime, go watch it.
If you want to watch something that is not that long and is only 6 episodes of each 20-minute something episodes, go watch Fooly Cooly. And if
Probably
you
take
want
less
to,
than 3 hours now.
yeah, and if you want to, go watch the sequels if you want to.
If you're really up to it.
Anthony, do you have any last thoughts? Any plugins? Do you want people to follow you? Do you want to just
No, not really.
no closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Brain empty.
Brain empty.
No thoughts.
My closing thoughts. Go watch Fooly Cooly. Also, if you want to go say hi to me, I have 2 social medias I mainly use. That being Twitter and Instagram, which you can find in the. I'm gonna put it in the comment section of this video this time, so it's in the comment section below. If you want to go say hi, if you want to go tell me your thoughts on Fooly Cooly, go right ahead. I am open for discussion. But yeah, I would say that is all we have today for this episode of the Bacon Hour podcast. Anthony, thank you so much for coming in and discussing Fooly Cooly.
The weird, wacky ride that is Fooly Cooly.
I don't know how many times we've said Fooly Cooly this whole episode, but
Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, but that's about it. I will see you guys next episode.
Adios.
Stay positive, everybody.